Check, check, check. Stupid speakers. Yeah, that's working. Okay. Bit loud, I'm sure. Check, check, check. 1, 2.
Sure. Check, 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 1, 2. Sure. Check, 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 1, 2. Sure.
That's that infinite loop right there. All right, good. It works. Okay. Let's get to. Oh. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Thursday stream. A little bit of a special stream today. We're baking my two-time famous cake, the whipped cream cake. It's not mine, obviously, but it's one that I enjoy making because it's easy, relatively speaking. And we're going to get started on that. Because I need it for tomorrow night, which is the last night of bowling, and I said I'd be bringing it, so. Now we're going to start with the egg whites. Probably get some gloves, I guess. Now, the difference this time I actually have cake flour. I didn't know they sold it in boxes. I thought they sold it in bags, like literally everything else, like all-purpose flour or sugar or something. That is not the case. They don't do that. And I think it's simply because cake flour is such a specialty flour that they don't want to like sell it on in mass. So yeah, that's yeah. All right, so I have to get. It's got to just be the egg whites. It's gonna be tough. Though I could just actually dump them in and. The egg yolk broke. Try again. I didn't even hit it that hard. I didn't even touch the egg yolk. Okay. We need 3. Huh. Fuck. It's not going very well already. How are you going to do this to me? Going to lose some of the egg whites here. That was pretty good. Let me get as much of it as I can. I didn't hit it that hard, man. Why has it got to be this way? One little clip and it's like, oh, oh no. Oh. That's disappointing. Bake you a cake? No. This is just for bowling tomorrow night. There you go. Got that whole egg yolk out. That's good. What a waste. I can't do it. That's too much egg yolk. The waste of 3 eggs right there. Awesome. So lovely. Can't have a dozen, but that's a waste. No egg yolk. Gotta pull it apart quickly. Please don't tell me that was too far. Those are perfect. Got it. Good enough. And it's pretty much all I can get. I don't like wasting food, and that was 3 eggs down the drain. Well, I put them in the garbage. They're not usable. So I can't make omelets out of them. Okay. By the way, Matthew, can you hear the music? I'm not going to do that again. Many times I've put my butter, butter tray. on that damn oven or stove top, and I've completely forgotten that it was there. Had the oven on, and well, what do you know? The butter melted. All right, so now we need a cup of heavy cream. Hey, Rob. Yeah, it's a baking channel, Rob. It's also a music channel. It's a gaming channel. It's a podcast channel. It's an everything channel. I was misleading in my thumbnail. How? Because I said we're getting baked. Well, I don't know what you were thinking about. I was thinking about baking. That's what I was thinking. Get your head out of the gutter. Ow, my thumb. So we lost 3 eggs in this process, but we did it eventually. Now we gotta whip this cream. It's gonna take a while. Let me know if you can hear the beater. You shouldn't be able to. I turned on the noise suppression, but we shall see. So yeah, this time I actually got pastry flour, so this is good. Now, we're not using all-purpose. Now, I think the biggest difference, and Rob, you can obviously chime in by all means. The biggest difference that I have been seeing is that the all-purpose makes a bit of a heavier, denser cake, whereas the cake flour probably makes a softer, moister, possibly lighter cake, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, good. Yeah, I turned on the noise suppression, so you shouldn't be able to hear the beater. Unless I'm talking. Also, I'm getting an update on the game right now. Yankees versus the Rays. It looks like. So when I went to Walmart I got the French press. It's over there. It's the exact one you said, Rob. They also had a milk frothing thing, and I was like, well, I could probably use that for other things other than milk frothing, but I was looking at stand mixers. A KitchenAid. It looked like the base price was $300. I'm like, and there was another brand. It was called the Beautiful brand. $100 for the same thing. I get the exact attachment I want plus a splash cover to go on top of the bowl, and I'm just like, are we really paying that much for brand names? Like, that's ridiculous. Now, it's, of course, I either do it this way or I do it by hand, which I don't want to. It wrecked my forearm before. It's thickening up. You can sort of see it. It's a little bit more liquidy still, but... That's too fast. Okay, now we got... It's still somewhat liquidy, but we've whipped it. Okay. Want to make some too early now. Gotta whip up the egg whites. KitchenAid is no joke. It's a beast when it comes to reliability and durability. You get what you pay for. They make other crap products, but their mixer is no joke. Well, that and plus, I mean, you do have the attachments for the KitchenAid, like the meat grinder attachment and all the other ones that I saw, but I wouldn't mind grinding my own meat, but that is $300 as opposed to $100. To the one next to it, it's like, not really looking to break the bank here with a fucking KitchenAid. So here's my kettle, just a stainless steel one that they had. I don't need anything. I would like a cast iron or something if that is even a thing. But I got the French press here. They also had like a scale for like $11. It was actually on clearance sale, so I'm like, okay, I definitely would been meaning to get one of those. But there's the French press. This is all I wanted, and this is the one that you told me to get, and it looks good. So I'm excited to get rid of that, move this shit over here, move that shit over here, and then we're good to go. All right, so now we're gonna beat the eggs until they have stiff peaks, egg whites. Excuse me. Now this one I did start with the whisk the last time, and while I would say that it probably worked better for the egg whites to, get them started, it's kind of hard to not use the beater here. I'm gonna make sure I don't hold that over in case I drop it. This makes it so much easier, though. I just hold the bowl at an angle, it falls back into the beaters, and it just goes around and around and around. Can you imagine this kind of carnival ride? Single serve. That's all I care about. Or, I do have actual teacups, which are literal cups. I could easily get a few servings out of it. But if we're talking, bigger mug, then yeah, that makes sense. Oh my god, this is going so much faster than the whisk. Like I'm drilling the egg whites into submission. Now we have to whip these first until stiff peaks. Doesn't take as long as the heavy cream to actually whip, but stiff peaks, that's debatable as to what that means for most people. I think it's basically until it stands on its own, essentially. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying though. I started the last time with a hand whisk. The last time I missed, and it took a long time until I realized I could have just did this. See how easy that is? I just let it fall into the whisks, the beaters. Starting to thicken now. Not quite stiff enough. Basically, kind of has to come out like the whipped cream, almost. Those are the kind of stiff peaks they're looking for. There it is. See that? Stiff peaks. That was so much easier. So much easier. And I don't feel tired this time. Now we just fold the egg whites into the whipped cream. Ooh, that's exactly how it should fall out. Just like that. That's why I like doing this recipe, just because it doesn't need any butter. All the fat comes from the heavy cream. Half cup water. Dashing of vanilla. that aside. All right, so now we need 2 cups of the pastry flour. Hey, Wax! How are we doing? Okay, first things first. I got to do it over this thing because let me get my scissors. I do not have an extra bowl to put this stuff in, unfortunately. So I'll probably just put it in that one. Not a whole lot. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, let's take it out. I should just be able to stick it in, right? Open sesame. Yeah, essentially. Stick it in there. There we go. That's what I want to do. Level it off. So it's 2 cups. 2 cups of flour. Got our back in here if I can. Half teaspoon of salt. And then 3 teaspoons of baking powder. I just recently looked up what the difference is between baking powder and baking soda. 1, 2, 3. Technically, what I got out of it was that you can essentially replace baking soda entirely with baking powder because baking powder has the leavening agents, has the abilities of baking soda plus the leavening, I think is what it was. And then 1.5 cups of sugar. Now again, keep in mind, I am using cake flour this time instead of all-purpose like we did the last 2 times. So there should be a difference in the texture. And like I said, I don't know if my brother could actually, confirm or not, but the texture should be, with the cake flour, moisture and lighter, as opposed to the all-purpose, which is a little bit more of a dense cake, if I'm not mistaken. I shouldn't click on it. Honestly, with the gloves, I think he's doing surgery. Yeah, pretty much. Don't want the product to be contaminated. He's going to bake it in an oven. Although finally getting my own kitchen. Nice, dude, nice. Let me get this out of here. Was it 350? Get it started. Okay, I'm just gonna. Right. And that's literally it. Dump the wet and the dry, put them together, and it forms cake mix. I'm so happy I finally got a rubber spatula. I can get every last bit out of the bowl. I didn't have one of these for a while. I don't know why. Not like this stuff is expensive. Ooh, this is definitely different already. I can tell from the all-purpose. Now I know why they did this. This is way easier to do it this way. Just hold it like a baby. Just hold it like a baby. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is way different. Maybe I should have saved arm day for today. That's looking like way smoother. And gummier. The all-purpose wasn't gummy, it was more... definitely more liquidy. I forgot the sugar. That's okay, we can always incorporate it afterwards. Nothing's really set in stone. One and a half. How dare I forget the sugar? That'd be a pretty... well, okay. It honestly, I don't think it would be too bland if I did forget the sugar. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think, since I would be making homemade whipped cream along with a pie filling for a topping, it would still have sugar with it, just in, you know, in a different form. Okay, there you go. Now it's getting a little bit more liquidy, probably because of the sugar, actually, come to think of it. That's probably why it was so gummy. Didn't have the sugar in it. Isn't it? Didn't have the sugar in it. Yeah, look at that. That's nice now. Alright, let's get this stuff back. Here. Oh, my arm. That I'll figure out later. Well, I'm putting it in there. I just gotta clean that up. Fine. I didn't need my bites. Yay! I need this. I need my parchment paper. That's butter. Might win me some points with the ladies. Most of the ladies are old. Ah. It's not enough. There we go. Ah. I just needed to wait. There you go. Come on now. Spit it down now. Kind of crazy the effect sugar had on this. The moment that I actually put it in the solution or the mixture immediately became more liquidy. There we go. You know, I like cooking. I think I like baking more though. It's more fun. It's like a science experiment, which I guess essentially it is. It is. It's not like it is. It is. Except you're not combining chemicals. You're just combining ingredients. Is low in protein, so okay. Do you see Martha Stewart wearing gloves when she cooks? Yeah. Baking powder is baking soda with an there you go. That's what it is. Acid. It's an acid. All right. Allegedly, 1 hour in a 350-degree oven. Now, last time, because we did it with all-purpose flour, I think that's why it took longer, because the flour type was different. So an hour should be correct here, given that it's the proper flour type. But that's why we'll check. That's why we'll check after an hour. We'll see what happens. It's supposed to be kind of like a halfway point between angel food cake and white cake. Now, while we wait, I'm going to make my oatmeal because I didn't have it today. I did just have a full bag of beef jerky because I couldn't help myself. But I mean, it's just a lot of salt, really. And I had been feeling very sluggish all week, like every day at work, from Monday till now, possibly tomorrow morning. I'm feeling really sluggish, and I don't know why. I've been working out. I had to move today's workout to Saturday just because I had forgotten when I was at the store earlier to pick up more heavy cream. So there's that. And then while I was there, I ended up getting other things. Okay, so this will go in that bowl. So that way, I at least have the cake flour in its own little thing. And then next time I make a cake, or I need cake flour, I'll have it. But now I need to figure out a new mixing bowl. I got plenty of bowls. I got this thing. You know, I got one more of those, and that's fine. We're not really, obviously, this isn't really that big. This is good for the egg white, but for anything else, like a mixing bowl, it's not big enough. So I'll have to figure it out, but whatever. Maybe I'll just do it in a fancy way where it's like I do all the wets first, and then I put all the dries in afterwards. Just half a tablespoon. Teaspoon, half teaspoon. Yeah, there we go. Technically, because there's so little cake flour, it should go in the smaller bowl, but I already had the granulated sugar in there, so that ain't gonna happen. I'm gonna need that bowl anyway, so that I can make my homemade whipped cream. I should probably do that actually first. Make the homemade whipped cream first. Let me finish the comments here. Baking powder is baking soda with an acid powder. Cake flour is low in protein, so it forms less gluten strands, which prevents the dough from binding too tightly and creates a more crumbly texture. That makes sense. The airiness comes from the tight pockets, more loose liquid, and rapid leavening from the baking powder. I wonder if people would watch me cook. I don't see why not. You could give it a shot. One recommendation is not to overwork the dough. It will leaven unevenly. It wasn't really much of a dough. I don't. Would you call that a dough? It doesn't resemble a dough. It's more like a. I just had it in my head. The word I was going to use. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a dough, but, you know. But I had heard about that where you don't want to work, depending on what you're making, you don't want to overwork the dough or whatever. You just worked on with the heavy cream and white eggs. Sponge cake. Rob's made probably everything. Baking it is more chemistry focused, cooking is less. True, basically edible chemistry. But this is the part of baking that people fret when they think of baking. There are a lot of steps that you need to do in order to make it really, really good sponge cake. Baking can be forgiving if all the ingredients are present. So all I have to say is don't forget the sugar if you make desserts, obviously. And to be clear, you were right, Wax, when you said baking is more chemistry focused, cooking is less, but in cooking, molecular gastronomy is all chemistry. It's just how I see it. I do the spices on my own taste buds most of the time. True, and if you dig deeper, there's a lot of chemistry in cooking. Sometimes it's just less steps, unless you make a beef Wellington. Oh my god, I've watched that so many times. Maybe someday I'll try it, but I doubt I'll get very close. Very loose dough, yes. Its hydration level is extremely high. Okay. Gotcha. So, the thing that I'm always curious about is if baking powder technically is baking soda with an acid powder in it, why is it that some recipes call for both, right? It seems a bit silly to me to say that you would need both if one is already the other plus something else. That that freaking beef jerky's catching up with me. Maybe thirsty. Well, we'll see how this turns out. Hopefully it turns out well and I didn't overwork it. This is the learning process, though. I've only done it 2 other times, and both times it came out really well done. Not like in terms of like, overcooked or anything. It actually was cooked very well. This time I got strawberry filling. I'm actually going to taste this. I'm going to bring this, obviously. That's way better than the cherry. The cherry was good. I like the cherry filling. But I think the strawberry definitely has a little bit more flavor to it. Granted, this is canned store-bought filling. I didn't make it myself because that would... I don't want to screw that up. I know it involves sugar, orange juice, and then, of course, and you need cornstarch, which I didn't buy. But yeah, I've been, so it's not going to be as good, just to finish that thought. This canned shit is probably not really that as good as something that you could make from scratch, just because, making it from scratch, a lot more wholesome ingredients, I suppose. Orange juice, granulated sugar is about, it's not really wholesome, but it's a raw ingredient. Where's the top? Oh. I'm going to put that in the fridge. And bring it with me. And then, fresh berries and stuff like that, or frozen berries, which about as fresh as you can get. Stop doing that. Don't splash, please. Craziest part is that this little container of heavy cream will be like a ridiculous amount of whipped cream. To take waffles as an example, you have both baking powder and baking soda. The baking soda is added because it reacts with the lactic acid in the milk, but the lactic acid doesn't produce enough leavening when it reacts to the baking soda. You add the baking powder to boost the leavening power of the soda to create the consistency of a waffle. See, it's just so much science that I can't get behind. That's why the recipes are so necessary, because I'm always envious of bakers who can just remember shit like that or come up with new stuff because they know something like that. I wouldn't. I will say this, though. First off, let me turn on a light. Yeah. I will say this. After I made my first batch of homemade whipped cream, I don't think I'll ever buy store-bought ever again. It's not that hard. You just need a beater or a stand mixer if that's your thing. Literally just do this until it's whipped up. Add, I think it's like a cup of sugar, some vanilla flavor, and you're good to go. It's years of failures that made me realize what I did wrong. I mean, true, yeah, you have to fail to learn. But it's just like, I watched a video not too long ago, recently, of Adam Ragusa, and he literally made bread by just kind of throwing shit together, and seeing if it worked. He obviously knew what he was doing, but at the same time, he wasn't measuring anything. He just threw in some flour. He's like, yeah, that's okay. And then the yeast, and then the warm water, and he was just kind of working it, with a wooden spoon. And he did other shit with it, and it's just like, and he did it all by just feel, and he didn't measure anything. And I'm like, yeah, people in ancient times, they didn't measure shit. They just threw it all together, and they just learned from trial and error. But it's just crazy to me that you could still do that. But I'm not entirely sure if I'd be able to accomplish that myself, because I haven't even really made bread. But I got bread flour up there, so I definitely plan on doing it. A beater. I'm clipping. Okay. Fine. Clip it. Put it in the community clips. See if I care. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. That was the whole idea. I'm going to try and make a sourdough by just letting it sit out and naturally gather yeast, instead of maybe using instant yeast, which I do have in the cupboard. Which I'm assuming, I think you were the one who told me the shelf life of that instant yeast is pretty long, so I don't have to worry about it going bad anytime soon. It's splashing all over the place. I'd rather not make a mess. Of course, this whipping is going to take a little bit longer just because it's more heavy cream, so decent shelf life, but test it before you use it. See if it's still active. Careful that anyone bring headphones. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm trying not to be too loud. I had to turn up the microphone on the camera because I'm not using my headphones. I could just switch over. I like the sound coming from the phone's camera or phone's microphone. This headset microphone is just garbage. Now, obviously, a stand mixer with a balloon whisk, as my brother was mentioning earlier, would be so much easier and so much faster because, well, there's more wires coming in contact, and it would make this process a little bit faster. But I mean, I'm just standing here. I'm not really doing anything. As far as vanilla extract goes, you kind of just throw in there. I always thought you needed to, you know, measure it out because it is so potent, but you really don't. Just kind of toss it in there. It'll be as vanilla-y as you want it to be. Unless I was supposed to put powdered sugar in here, which I know there's a difference, but I don't know if it matters too much. We'll have to see. I don't think it matters. I probably should have added the sugar in with the liquid, when it was liquid, I should say. Because it's still kind of grainy, but man, is that good. Now it is whipped cream. Now, the downside to making your own whipped cream, there really isn't much of a downside, to be honest, is that it can settle. It will settle over time. Doesn't mean it's gone bad, it just means you have to whip it again. So basically it reverts back to liquid. That is sugary. And you can over whip it. Because then it starts to, I believe, curd. And then it's not whipped cream anymore. It's more like butter. Basically making butter. I'm hoping all this will fit in here. Let's see if I got another container. I don't know if this is any bigger. Steak. Yeah. That's a little bit of a deeper bowl. Really hold it. It would have fit in the other one. Oh well. Too late. I wonder if confectioner sugar would have been better than granulated. Because the granulated sugar, I think that'll dissolve while it sits in the whipped cream. Yeah, it already has. That's gonna be something. There you go. Perfecto. Thing about pumpkin puree, Adam, canned stuff is always better. Everyone likes a good tool. Well, I mean, I still think that if I was to make the filling or the topping essentially from scratch, I think it probably would taste better. The canned stuff is just, well, it's mass produced. See, here's the thing. That didn't really taste like you would expect it to, probably because it wasn't, cooked. But maybe the cooking process does something to it that makes it sweeter or something. I don't know, but it just doesn't taste sweet like I think it should or like I remember it. So that's why I'm like, it's not really catching me. But I think when it's combined with the whipped cream, with the cake, which are both filled with sugar, that should probably help it along. The topping just becomes a garnish essentially, and you're not really paying attention to the topping more or less than the cake and the whipped cream. I don't know. I just remember, when I was a kid, in the homemade pies, I remember the filling being far more sweet than what I taste out of these cans. But I could be misremembering. I'm going to use this. Maybe a cup of sugar was a bit too much for the whipped cream. Half a cup might be perfect. Too much Tupperware. Oh my god, too much Tupperware. Too much. That's okay. Salt is going to offset the sweet. First use of my new kettle. I'm going to stop drinking coffee at night or even after lunch. Like, once I'm done in the morning, or once the morning has passed, that's it. I'm not drinking coffee. No after lunch coffee, no green coffee. That's it. I think it's really fucking my sleep up. Because while I'm falling asleep, my brain's not, probably. So. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be taking the cake out of that 9x9? Whatever that measurement is. Because that's what I'm going to bring it to the bowling alley in. But of course, we have to let it cool either way. So I'm just going to set it on top of this so that it doesn't touch the counter. That shit's going to be hot when it gets out. All right, into my oatmeal. I'm going to have honey and cinnamon. You can always add, but you can't take away. Yep. I was looking at your French press, Adam, and I was wondering if you have ever seen James Hoffman. Nope. Very good, Adam. What did I say? Close on the butter part, but the whipped cream does deflate over time. Yep. You can use an acid to stabilize the milk solids to keep your cream whipped longer. Well, I assume that's probably what they add in the store-bought stuff, so it does stay like whipped cream longer. But I'm okay with re-whipping it. I made it for tomorrow night, and I'll probably have some left over when I come home, and I'll eat it. But I'm hoping that just like the last couple times, I'm bringing nothing home other than my dish, my Tupperware. But that's it. Like, I'm hoping that people like it enough to eat all of it. And we're losing to the Rays. I can see the score right here. It's 1-3 or 3-1. Rays in the favor of the Rays. Granulated sugar needs a lot of liquid to dissolve. Heavy whipped cream is 66% fat. Like you said, the canned stuff is mass-produced. They make it for everyone. Yeah, you can always add more sugar. How much whipped cream did you use? I used a whole container of heavy cream. That's what I did the last time. There's some grease on the back burner. I gotta clean these burner covers and everything. Crack these open while that heats up. Fine, stay on there. I don't care. Just trying to check it, and the lid is like annoying. What size is the container? It's 1 pint. It's a pint of whipping cream. I don't know what the cast iron pot brand is. Lodge. It's a Lodge brand. Not even close yet. Just burning off all whatever the oil is that I got back there. We still got another 35 minutes or so, or 32 minutes. 32 minutes till the cake is done. Stop seasoning it. Well, I have to, given the fact that it's still sticking, or it was sticking. I was able to use it 2 times before it stopped sticking, or before it started sticking again, I should say. What does it? What I mean? What does it harm if I season it? I still use oil. I still use butter. It's a pretty, it does pretty well with non-stick, at least in those respects. I don't think seasoning it is going to hurt anything. Anything, it'll make it nice. It'll keep it nice longer. At least that's what I understood from everybody I watched. That it'll keep the cast iron from rusting a lot longer if you season it. All right. I'll take your word for it. I've only seasoned it probably like 3 times. Oh man, it's good to have a kettle again. I always prefer to make oatmeal like this. I've been making it in the microwave, and while it's quick, it's hard to judge how much water you would need, given the fact that, like, the instructions say it's a 2-to-1 ratio, essentially, I think. Yeah, it's like half a cup of oats, 1 cup of water, and I don't like oatmeal like that. It becomes really runny. I like my oatmeal a little bit more like a paste. Kind of like this. Where it's just more pasty rather than liquidy. Liquid oatmeal is gross. Just like liquid rice pudding is gross. The Indian place I go to, Spice Malabar, they have great food. My favorite dessert they have there is gulab jamun, I think it's pronounced. Some of the I've never tasted anything like it. It's so good. But they have a rice pudding, and you look at it, and it literally just looks like soup. Whereas I remember when Mom made it, it was pudding. It was rice pudding. It was thick and creamy, and it tasted like fucking pudding. But this stuff is literally just liquid with rice in it, and it's gross. And I'm like, how is that? How is that according to them rice pudding? I don't understand. It's like rice soup. Like a sweet rice soup. A good rice pudding is thick and has raisins in it. That's the way Mom used to make it. And that shit, oh man. I wish she made it more often. I'll have to learn how to make it. Make my own rice pudding. There we go. That's the consistency I like. Mmm. Essentially cinnamon spice, like you would buy at the store, except not full of granulated sugar. It's full of this. All right, this one's... Like I said, I wanted a... maybe not... like the same kind of kettle that Mom had. The red one. I don't think it was cast iron, but it wasn't stainless steel, but that was like $10. I'm like, okay. So what is sticking? You know, meat. Sometimes eggs. But maybe I just don't have it on high enough because I'll put it up to maybe 7 or 8 on the dial, which is pretty high. Or actually, lately I've been putting it on 5 because I know that cast iron retains a lot of heat, so I just assume it would be hot enough. Plus, if I put it there, shit doesn't just splash out all over the place, you know? If I put it on high, where it's just ripping hot, it makes such a mess. Well, I've been using oil, vegetable oil, but I plan on actually going to... Well, Walmart actually has beef tallow. But I was thinking of maybe going to like the Price Chopper down the street and seeing if they have any scraps I might be able to make my own beef tallow. But then I also want to use it to... actually, that salt was actually perfect. It's complementing the sweet. I did want to use that to make my bread, too. You don't necessarily need a Dutch oven to make bread. You can use a cast iron pan. Mm. Seriously. Make your oatmeal like this. Honey, you want that cinnamon spice oatmeal that you usually get with the Quaker Oat pack? Do it like this. Honey and cinnamon, that's it. A little bit of salt too. They say on the packaging or on the Quaker Oats tin, salt is optional. Salt is a requirement. When you're dealing with sweet, salt offsets that sweetness, so it's not like overpowering. I think for some people that might have been maybe a little too much salt, but for me that was actually good. I can already smell the cake. I could smell it earlier, but you know. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's looking so good, man. We still have 12 minutes, technically. Luckily, I've got toothpicks. This is so stupid. I've been looking at my cookbook lately on the oatmeal cookie recipe that I want to make real oatmeal cookies this time. That's the whole reason I got brown sugar to begin with. All right, so let's take a look at this new French press. Now, the reason I'm moving from a pot to French press is because while, okay, coffee filters aren't exactly a lot of trash, the whole reason I went to that away from the Keurig is because with the Keurig you have, yes, a self-contained thing, but it's plastic, the filter, and the aluminum on the top. So it's more garbage that you're producing for just one cup of coffee. I got that so I could have more than one cup of coffee. The problem is that the mug is more than a cup, so I'm really only getting 2 mugs of coffee out of that one pot, which is a 5-cup pot. So, if I end up having more than 2 mugs full, then I have to make a whole other pot, which is another coffee filter plus the coffee grounds. I figure with the French press, all I'm dealing with is the coffee grounds, which are not terrible for the environment, and also much easier cleanup. Animal with animal, vegetable with vegetable. That's actually a good point. Well, you know, that's something I tried to do one time. I think I just didn't do it very well, or I didn't have enough fat, is I trimmed off the fat off the steak that I was going to make. And I think it worked. I don't know. I don't think I had enough, though. And can I make another recommendation on the cast iron? You can make as many recommendations as you want. You know what you're doing. Oh, that's beautiful. Wait, what's this? Oh my god. It comes with a little scoop. Look at this. I already got a scoop. This one's 1/4 ounce per cup. Ooh, wow, what is this paper? What is this booklet made of? Version 1 without locking lid. Is this a locking lid? Oh, look at this. It even has a screen here to make sure there's no coffee grounds coming through, I think. Well, no. It's just like a secondary filter system, because you got the screen here to push down all the grounds. But I guess this one's just an extra layer. This is nice. The original French press. Really? Is that true? Is Bodum the original? Heat your cast iron in a 450-degree oven before using it. Well, how long, though? Because that's what I season it at. I season it at 500 degrees, but... This is really nice. But that was the whole reason I wanted to go French press. Not because I've only heard it's a better cup of coffee, but... you get rid of the paper aspect of the whole thing, the filter and everything, and you're just left with the grounds and that you could use. You can either throw away, or you could use it for compost if you want to use it for gardening and stuff like that. Read instructions before use, not for stovetop use. Obviously, that's why I got the kettle. Always use coarse ground coffee, which I don't know if the store-bought coffee is coarse, but I've been thinking about getting my own coffee, like the coffee beans, and grinding them up myself. Because I looked up a couple videos on how to flavor the coffee, and there are like flavor oils, so I'm thinking about doing that. But Course as in what? Like how course? 15 minutes? Always stir before pressing down using a plastic spoon or wooden spoon, not metal. So just press down very gently. But why stir? Is that to, like, stir up the oils and stuff? This is nice. This is beautiful. This costs, like, nothing. I think this thing was, like... It was, like, $14. Which is kind of nuts. That's kind of nice. And now we've got the scale, which, again, was on clearance for $11. I've been needing a scale forever. Because there are times where certain recipes call for grams because it's more accurate. When imperial units just aren't accurate enough. This is kind of nice, though. This came for clearance. This is actually... Got a nice pad here, which I'm sure it'll tell me what this is for. You put it on the top of the scale for something. And they say specifically it's an espresso coffee measuring scale, but then it takes AAA batteries. I don't have them. I'm gonna have to go get some, I think. But then I think, yeah, right here it says multi-purpose scale. So I mean, you know, I assumed it was for, you could use it for anything because it is just a scale. It's gonna do whatever you. It's going to weigh whatever you put on it. This is nice. This is really, for $11, man. This is nice. Ooh, sticks to the table. I like that. But yeah, you put this on top for some reason. I'm not sure what that's for. But obviously the instructions will tell me. It's a weighing platform. Put the items on the weighing pan to weigh. If the display unit is not right, you can press the unit key to achieve unit conversion. Select the unit you want to use. Naturally, I think I would actually probably use grams because that's what most people get these things for, is to get exact measurements. And the exact measurement, the most exact is grams. It's not American units. It's not freedom units, but it's a unit. Tear function, to put a tray or container on the pan, press tear, the display will show 0. Yeah, so it's tear means it's basically leveling it out, resetting it to 0, not including the weight of the container that you put on top, which I knew that, but then you get add items in the container, timer function, warning prompts, low battery, unstable, move scale to stable ground, overweight, remove some of the larger objects until within the scale's capacity. I don't understand this pad, though. Like, why can't I just put it directly on the scale? Bodum is known for making the first, I don't believe it's true, they were the kitchen aid of French press. The coffee grounds bloom, which creates pockets of unsaturated grounds. Stirring helps break the pockets up. James Hoffman does a video on the way to properly make a brew of coffee in a French press. I'll have to check it out. Weighing platform. Why is this necessary? Is this necessary to have on top of the scale? I mean, I'm just going to go with what it shows. I guess it is. You don't need this anymore. I'll keep this in the Bodum thing in here. We got 3 minutes. Then we can take our check of the cake. Yeah. Once I take the pot out of here, it's obviously not very big. Doesn't take up a lot of space, but it's still space nonetheless. All that stuff is coming over here because it makes no sense for it to be over there, given the fact that this is where I work here. And I'm sick of having to reach over to push the microwave door button and have it swing in like this instead of away from me. Kind of sick of that. So, gonna just move all that over here. I don't particularly like the outlet being so close to the sink there, but it's not like I splash water up there, you know what I mean? This is nice. This is going to come in handy. This is very nice. I'm not a fan of glossy surfaces like this thing is right here, because it's just going to get, fingerprints on it, but woo! I have my own French press. I have my own kettle, my own French press. We're rolling. Now, my concern is that this won't fit under that side because this side's a little bit, like the distance between here and here is, I think, different. I could, you know what? Possibly, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, I gotta get this out of the way. We're about to check the cake. AAA batteries, huh? Okay. I don't know if I have any. If not, who cares? I'll buy a whole pack. Ready, doctor. James Hoffman's video is too finicky for me, but you learn the reasons for French pressing over other brews. But the real kicker in his video is that he doesn't press. He doesn't press. Then what's the point? Then just call it a French. Yeah, no. Didn't quite come out clean, though. I pressed it in two different spots. One, it mostly came out clean. This one grabbed a little bit on the way out. This might be okay, but I want to leave it in there just for a little bit longer. Eh. 10 minutes. I like the oils of the brew, like the sediment at the bottom of the coffee. What makes a French press pressing. The filter is for filtering. I think possibly another 10 minutes should be okay. I don't want to overdo it. While the toothpick did come out messy on the second time through, that might be due to the fact that I stuck it in the first time, but I'm not sure. But I did stick it in a different part because the cake has opened up a little bit on the top, but that's okay. But that's where I stuck it, and that's probably why it grabbed a whole bunch, because it was already... I mean, the stick was already moist. Maybe that's why it grabbed. I don't know. Kind of press that he does barely breaks the surface of the liquid, but that's it. I mean, I'm probably just going to use it as a French press. Yo, we scored twice. Let's go! Yankees are at 3. Rays are at 3. Here we go. While we wait for another 8 minutes, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. Okay. I think, actually, it does need to cool. I don't want to pull it out too early. It's set an hour in the recipe, and I think it technically is done, but that second pull came out unclean, so I'm just assuming that it needs to be in there a little longer. So I figure maybe 10 minutes should be more than enough. 10 extra minutes. It's not going to kill the cake, I don't think. But it does need the cool down time too. So, and it'll be probably, I'll probably cover it up with some aluminum foil. I'll let it cool a little bit here. Stop going off, stupid. But then before I go to bed, I'll wrap it up with some aluminum foil. So that way, it doesn't. Well, I'm putting it in the fridge. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. I'm putting it in the fridge. To French press is press gently and do not and not too firmly when you hit the bottom. Well, I mean that's what it said on the glass, so I was planning on just following the instructions. Because the grounds obviously they float to the top, right? They're pretty much just sitting on the top the whole time, and they fall when they like over time they'll fall to the bottom, and you're just like pressing down to get the residual ones or something. I can't wait. I gotta clean this off. I can't wait to have all that over here because then it's here when I need it. If this drawer under the freaking breakfast counter was designed better, I'd use that for all my utensils too, but they're gonna stay in that drawer over there where I can actually get at them. This is just for extra towels, mostly at this point for here. Extra dish towels. And I had my cookbook in here one time. It's a pain in the ass to get it out of there though. So. Some do, some don't. All right. Well, like you said, trial and error, right? Man, that beef jerky definitely made me thirsty. Well, I mean, this will be my first time doing a French press, so I don't know what way I like it until I try it. I think the first cup, and again, it's store bought coffee grounds, so it may not be as good. I imagine it might be slightly better than coming out of a pot or a coffee maker, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what the difference is, why it would be any different. But I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that the coffee grounds sit in the hot water instead of just get run through hot water, or I should say the hot water runs through the coffee grounds. I imagine you're not getting as much flavor because the water's just falling through them rather than just collecting the aroma, collecting the oils. I'm just assuming that's the reason why a French press might be better because it's actually letting the oils and letting the flavor kind of just steep in the water, and then the water just gets all the flavor. Counter's a little sticky. Going to cut the power now. Let it sit in there for another 2 minutes. I got some stickiness on my own. French is less filtered, yes. James Hoffman can show you a million ways to brew coffee. It always depends on what you're looking for. Yeah, but I have a feeling I'll like it this way. You know, like I said, we used to have Mom had the tea kettle at home. We made it, used it to make our oatmeal all the time, our tea if we had tea, which I did sometimes. But I've always wanted to have a French press because it's just, I want to know what that tastes like. And I trust that it'll be quite good. So. I'm assuming you're working on Easter? Like always? Oh, the freaking bunch of granulated sugar over here. And look at this. We are literally right on time. It's 8:51 and the cake is done. Well, yeah, it's going to be done. One way or another, it's going to be done. Look at that. I wish the lighting was better. Hook that onto there if I can so it doesn't fly away on me. There it is. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, the lighting's much better on this side. You're not looking at a light. Like I said, it cracked here, but that's okay. It gives it character, you know? Now, again, this cake is meant to be, you can eat it. Actually, I could just do this, too. You can eat it this way, like this. It's actually very good this way. It's meant to be eaten that way, but you can add, like I'm going to, whipped cream and, you know, a topping of your choice. I would suggest, of course, a pie filling of some sort. But that's it. There you go. That is whipped cream cake. Quickly becoming a famous household item in my house. A few years ago, they made another way of making coffee using an invention called the AeroPress. Some people claimed it was the best cup of coffee they ever had. Never had it, but it was mixed reviews. Some people didn't prefer it. And yes, I'll be working Easter. Well, balls. Well, I mean, at least you'll be with those hot waitresses that you work with. You lucky bastard. I don't work with any women. I don't think I wouldn't date somebody I work with. I've always held that as a standard for myself. I would never date somebody I work with. That seems like a nightmare. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it in there. I was thinking about taking this out and putting it on the tray, and then when I'm ready to bring it to bowling, I'd put it back in. But probably best just to leave it in there. And hopefully by the time I go to bed tonight, it'll be ready to move to the fridge. There was something I wanted to ask you, and I can't remember what it was. I don't know. I will say this, Rob. I have been thinking about what Josh Weissman has said and what a lot of other guys that I've watched have said about having if you were to have a single knife, a chef's knife is it. True. I agree. That's probably why I don't do it. But anyway. And they said get a chef's knife, one that's really good. Obviously, really good ones are very expensive. But I did buy this knife pack over here, obviously, like most kitchens have. And I don't really use most of the knives in there. So I figure I would just choose two of them and then like get rid of the rest. Maybe three. Um, and then I would actually get like because this one obviously is a chef's knife, so I'd want to keep this one, but I definitely would get a sharpening stone and I'd learn how to do that because this hand sharpener that I have is it gives it an edge, but not like razor sharp edge, you know? Like I should be able to glide through that. It sort of does, but it's not it doesn't hold it for very long. And I use this one the most probably. Um and then And then I've got this paring knife, which I really like. This one's really useful. And then I got this one that I usually use to cut tomatoes and stuff like that. There's a bigger version of this one, but I don't want to have two really big knives. I figured this would be the main one. And then if I want to like cut tomatoes, because it has these holes here, or these grooves, I guess. I don't know what you call it. That would allow it to, slide off and whatnot. But I like using this one for like cutting tomatoes or vegetables in general, maybe. And this, of course, for like smaller stuff. But I figure I keep these three and then just get rid of the rest because the rest of them are like steak knives. One's a bread knife. So it's this one right here, which I also think I might keep just because it's the only serrated one in there. But then there's the bigger variant of the smaller one, which I've used maybe a couple times. There's this one, which I don't use at all. And this one, I don't use. I don't even know what this one is. Like, there's actually dust building on this one because I don't use it. I didn't notice this. There's actually dust on the handle here. There's also dust on this handle, too, because I don't use this one either. But I don't know what this is. Do you know what this is? What kind of knife is that? This is all Farberware. I like their stuff, I do, but having a full set of knives and you only use 3 at the most out of the 7. This I think I'm gonna keep this just because it's serrated and it is good for when I actually like I do buy loaves of bread that I like to throw in the oven and then I cut them up and stuff for like bread, cheese, and ham spread or whatever. I just don't know what this is. But this I think could be as good as any chef knife that you spend $200 on. You just got to put a good edge on it, and you're good to go. Paring knife is always good. Serrated knife, just in case you need to cut bread, and this one's good for the vegetables. The rest of these, I just don't know what. I honestly wish I knew what this was. See, this doesn't feel sharp at all, and I've never used this one. This one I recently ran through my hand sharpener, and it's got an edge on it. This has got like nothing. Yeah, it's not doing anything. It's not grabbing or nothing. That's a slicer. Yeah, Farberware. Darren Stamp Steel. That's a surprise. No, I think this is like good. This is actually probably good steel, but that hand sharpener is garbage. I mean, it's not garbage. It just puts an edge on it for the short time that you need to use it. You run it through like slot number 1 10 times, and then you run it through slot number 2 10 times. I guess this is the deburrer. This is the actual sharpener. I don't think it's doing a very good job. It puts an edge on it for the short time you need it, and then you have to do it again, like for the third use that you want to use it for. I just grabbed it, but I think I'm gonna get a stone and actually be a real be a man about it and sharpen it properly. That's what I'm saying. So this is a slicer. I could do with this what you can do with this. I don't know what's the point. Point. This one, I think Dad used to use this type for carving, I guess. I don't know. I just don't have use for these. The way around. Yeah. But I mean, that's one thing that Josh Weissman said. If you choose one knife to have, period, this is it. Chef's knife is it, because you could do literally everything with this. You can even slice bread if you needed to. It's just better to do it with a serrated knife, obviously, as you know. I like this different variety of knives, but it's just like, I think the chef's knife is pretty much it. And then, I guess if I was to take two knives from this, chef's knife, paring knife, that's it. Every other knife in there is absolutely, and I would keep the scissors, obviously, but every other knife is completely pointless. Fillet knife. Oh, bony. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's meant for carving around bones. I don't find stuff with bones in it, so all my fish is fillets, frozen fillets. Yankees scored again. So I don't know. Anyway, success once again. I'm actually gonna. Ooh. Bit of a crusty top, which I actually really like. It's just a shame that I have to put this in the fridge overnight, and that's how they're going to eat it. It's so much better if it's like cooled down, fresh, the day of, warm. But I'm going to be at work tomorrow, so I can't make this during the day. It's just not going to happen. Having knives built for a job saves your general purpose knives from chipping and dulling. Yeah, but I don't cut around bones that much. Like, I did get one steak with bone in, but I just chewed the meat off the bone. It really wasn't that big a deal. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream here because that's all we were gonna do this evening, and I haven't gotten there yet. Well, I probably never will, to be honest. I mean, I get mostly boneless stuff. And I'm happy with it. So, I don't know. I think for my purposes, two of those knives, the chef's knife and the paring knife, would be pretty much all I would need. The bread knife, just for fun. Because I do want to make my own bread, and having a bread knife would be nice. Although it's a little bit small, I could probably work with it. But anyway, I think that's going to be it. This was our activity for the evening. We, once again, are successful. That little bit that I tasted off the toothpick, nice, fantastic. We've got a nice, solid top crust. It's actually browning very nicely. Or browned very nicely, I should say. And now it's just going to cool down, and before I go to bed, I'm throw some aluminum foil on top and put it in the fridge, ready for tomorrow evening's event. And although it's going to be 9-pin no tap, basically means if you get 9 pins, it counts as a strike, because it's not an official night of league. It's just a fun night. It's high-lows. Wish me luck, because last week I was able to hit a 289, 10 strikes in a row. The 11th strike, I choked. So, almost got it, but I let go of it. I knew it was a bad throw. I turned around again, and there's 1 pin standing up. So, I almost got a Brooklyn, but, yeah, it was so close. It was so close, and I would very much like to be able to, hey, if I get a 300 with 9-pin no tap, that'd be great. I don't think it'll happen. but I would rather get a 300 the normal way. But last week was awesome, man, and I hope that I can keep that up. I will not be returning to bowling next season. I'm not sure when I will go back to a league, but I like having the idea of my Fridays open, even during the winter, because sometimes there's a Friday night where I feel like maybe going out to dinner or something, and I can't do that if I'm in a bowling league. So I will not be returning to the league next year. So this is it for me for a while. But hey, that doesn't mean I'm not going to go bowling. Meech and I will probably go bowling on a Friday, after work. But we'll be at the end where we're away from the league, so that they can do their thing. And they always have like 4 lanes open, so I will still be bowling, just not in a league. I'm definitely open to doing tournaments, which I will be doing one in May. One of the other teams invited me to join them to be their 5th, which is awesome. $25 entry fee. I don't know what the prize is, but it's my first bowling tournament ever, so I'm really excited. May 3rd is when we're doing that, so I'll let you guys know how that goes. But tomorrow, it's it. That's the end of the season, and that'll be it for a while. Maybe when I get older and I don't want to, do other activities on Fridays, we'll go back to bowling in a league. But it's a lot of money, in my opinion. It's $80 a month, which some people might look at that and be like, oh, that's nothing, but it is quite a bit of money. That $80 could go somewhere else. So, like to my bills. So, I'm excited. I'm hoping people like this. This is the first whipped cream cake that we've made with cake flour. We just scored. We're up to 6 now. Let's go, Yankees. And the other 2 were made with all-purpose, and those turned out really well. So I am really excited to see how this one turns out. It looks great. So I'm excited to actually eat it, but that won't be until tomorrow. Anyway, thank you all for joining me this evening. I appreciate it. As always, your time and attention means so much to me, and I am so happy that you guys like watching me do stupid shit like this where I'm baking or cooking, because I plan on doing this more often in the future, and I hope you guys look forward to that as well, because there's so many things I'd like to make on camera, and it's going to add the variety that I've always been looking forward to having on this channel. So thank you all so much for joining me. And please join me again tomorrow night, 10 p.m. for more Final Fantasy XIV. We're done with 7.2. Now we're just going for the gear. And hell, maybe Jeremy will join me. I don't know if he'll be up that late, but maybe he'll join me and I'll play. We'll level up my bard with him on his Black Mage. But come back to see. Until then, I'm Adam Wolf. This is my whipped cream cake. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.